You are listening to the Caleb Turner Talk Show on the Anchor Radio Network. And now your host, Caleb Turner.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. It's the Caleb Turner Talk Show, April 13th, 2013 edition. Live on this Saturday afternoon, a beautiful day here in downtown Coquitlam, British Columbia, Canada. From our downtown Coquitlam, British Columbia studios. We're going to talk NFL today. The NFL draft is just 12 days away, April 25th. Looking to see who's going to be drafted high, who's not going to be drafted. Some recent free agent signings and trades made. Then we're going to get into the NCAA. And, of course, the tournament final game, Louisville beating my Michigan Wolverines. It was pretty sad. And then, of course, the NHL, the Vancouver Canucks. And we may talk about Kobe Bryant's torn Achilles, as he will be out 6 to 9 months going into next season. First, we'll get our break. The Caleb Turner Talk Show on the Anchor Radio Network rolls on after this.
The Vancouver Canucks play the Nashville Predators live from the Bridgestone Arena Monday night. Coverage beginning at 5 o'clock. We have the pregame, the postgame, every game live right here on the Anchor Radio Network. Canucks and Predators. You are listening to the Caleb Turner Talk Show on the Anchor Radio Network. And now your host, Caleb Turner.
We're back live on the Caleb Turner Talk Show on the Anchor Radio Network. April 13th, 2013. Can you believe we're already midway through April? How about them apples, Bob? 12 days left till the NFL draft. There's a lot of guys that are looking to be picked early. Geno Smith of West Virginia. Alabama's got a running back that should be up there. Of course, Manti Te'o of Notre Dame. That's, obviously. Alabama's got their whole team that could probably be drafted. Legitimately. But I think one of the bigger names you're going to see, Manti Te'o, should be up there. Although I don't think he did very good on the 40-yard dash. And that leads me to say that I don't know. I mean, it depends. It depends whether or not the scouts see him as a legitimate threat. April 25th also is my birthday, just for the listeners out there. 12 days till that. So, hey, if you're going to watch the NFL draft, tune into the Caleb Turner Talk Show. Of course, the Caleb Turner Talk Show will not be airing on Thursday. Thursday is the NFL draft. But the 4th through whatever the other rounds are will be on that Saturday. So, hey, if you're listening to the NFL draft, might as well tune in to the Caleb Turner Talk Show. Bad news for Kobe Bryant as well, just before we get into the NFL segment. Kobe Bryant out 6 to 9 months after tearing his Achilles tendon last night against the Golden State Warriors. One of the most heroic performances you will ever watch in NBA history last night. Kobe Bryant went down early in the game, stayed in the game, kept playing, went down later in the third quarter, came back and still played. Fourth quarter, 3:45 to go, he went down and that was it. Had to be helped off the court. The Lakers would go on to win the game. They were only up by 2 when he left, and they won the game by 2. Basically, the only way the Lakers are going to go deep in the playoffs, which they aren't going deep without Kobe Bryant. It's just, he's averaging 45.3 minutes per game this month, and he's 35. One of the older players in the NBA with the most elite name and the most elite status and the most championships. He's done for the rest of this season and possibly next season as well. His career could be over. Will the Lakers use the amnesty clause that everybody's been talking about to possibly end Kobe Bryant's career maybe 2 years early? I don't know. All I know is Kobe is out and the Lakers' chances of going deep. They haven't even clinched a playoff spot yet. They're 1 game up on Utah with 2 games left for both teams. The Lakers play Houston and they play San Antonio. Not in that order. They play San Antonio tomorrow, Houston on Wednesday. Utah plays Minnesota tonight. Actually, no. Utah has 3 games left. Playing Minnesota, playing Memphis. That's it. They do not have 3 games left. They have 2 games left. Both on the road, though. See, for the Lakers, they play at home. Utah plays on the road, Minnesota and Memphis. But we'll get into the basketball later. We're also going to talk Canucks hockey. They lost today 4-3 in Colorado. 7.2 seconds left, and Jan Hayda scores for Colorado to win the game. Lousy effort by the Canucks, though, losing to the worst team in hockey coming into today. Not good. We're also going to get into the college basketball finale, the Final Four. Louisville, Wichita State, Michigan, and Syracuse. Michigan and Louisville meeting in the championship game, and Louisville winning, unfortunately. But hey, the Michigan Wolverines this year, this team, did something that no team's done since 1992. And we'll get to that later, and we'll tell you what that was later on in the broadcast. But joining me live from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, the very own Phil Davis, PittsburghPostGazette.com. We have not had him on the show for it's about a month, Phil?
Yeah, just about a month. I have been so busy, this last month. Sorry I wasn't able to get on earlier. I know we had some stuff scheduled earlier on this month. Sorry, so sorry I couldn't. But I am glad that I can be on today. How are you doing, Caleb?
I'm doing great. It's a nice day here in British Columbia, as we said at the top of the hour. But I heard that you were at the Final Four this past week, and of course the 2 games on Saturday, the game on Monday, but then also the game on Sunday with the Division II team. Just the whole experience there, what was that like for you?
Oh, that was intense. I was pulling for Michigan the whole time, and it was just, disappointing to see that they didn't make it the whole way, but I was so proud of them, the way they played, and I'm not blaming the refs for anything. They did contribute to the game, I'm sure, the final game, championship. I'm sure the refs did their great contribution, as they normally do, but I'm not blaming anybody, and they came close, they did their best, they gave it their all, but unfortunately they didn't pull off with a win, as I would have liked to see them do.
Yes, and same here. I'm a big Michigan Wolverines fan. It's the only Michigan team that I cheer for. I'm not a Wings fan. I'm not a Tigers fan. Of course, I'm not a Pittsburgh Pirates fan or a Pittsburgh Steelers fan or a Pittsburgh Penguins fan. I do like Sidney Crosby, which he's out right now with a concussion. No. He got a puck in the face, chipped out a couple of teeth, possibly a concussion. But anyways, I'm not much of a Detroit fan, but I am a Michigan Wolverines fan, and I'm a Trey Burke fan. Born-again Christian, by the way, so we definitely like hearing his name on the broadcast. But yes, the refs definitely had something to do with the game on Monday. There was the goaltending call, I believe, early at the game when it was clearly a block. No, I take that back. It was not a block. They called it a block. It should have been a goaltend because the ball was already on the backboard and was already going down.
Right, and he slapped it.
Yeah. That you would think is a no-brainer.
You can probably zoom in, if you have that recorded, your DVR or TiVo or whatever, you can probably zoom in, and right past the backboard, you can see me standing up, my mouth wide open and my arms extended, asking the ref politely what's going on.
Yeah. Well, and all the Michigan fans were asking, hey, what's up with this? I mean, they fought so hard the whole entire tournament, maybe they were probably the team that did not get bit by the injury bug or anything like that. They were probably the only team that was not bit by the injury bug going into a game. They had the perfect team. They had the coach. They had the freshmen. They had the sophomores. They had the juniors. No seniors on the team. They were the youngest team going into the tournament. Youngest team, with probably the brightest hope, brightest future, but they're probably going to lose all their players going into next season due to the draft because, come on, let's be honest. Their players they have some absolutely incredible players. Trey Burke, Tim Hardaway Jr., Mitch McGary, Glenn Robinson III, Nick Stauskas, and then you got to see Al Horford play a little bit, but how about Mr. Spike Albrecht?
That was crazy. Nobody expected him to do that, especially anyone from Louisville. They didn't even see that coming because mostly, what I'm trying to say is, during the regular season, he barely played.
Yeah.
No one knew enough about him. He had his little, I think going into that game, he was either 6 for 6 or 7 for 7 in the tournament, I think. Yeah. which is pretty good, but he comes out and just starts nailing them. He was beating them in. The thing is that since he hadn't played as much as the other players, I think his endurance probably wasn't as good as theirs, and Michigan expected a lot out of him. And then he missed, and then he got tired, and defensively, it just kind of fell through. But he is a good player. He shows some great promise, and if he practiced with Burke, Stauskas, McGarry, all of them, he's practiced with them. So I'm thinking next year he'll probably be more of a threat. Not saying that he wasn't a threat. He was a great threat. He was an amazing threat, especially off the bench. But, next year he has a lot of promise coming.
Well, who drilled Trey Burke in practice?
Yeah, true.
Spike Albrecht. Who practiced against the MVP of the NCAA season this year? Spike Albrecht. So, I'm not saying that next year, as of now, Michigan is not ranked in the top 25 going into the next season. Can you believe that?
No, well,
see, they have nobody coming back, and that's what everybody sees right now. It's set up right now that Kentucky and Louisville could go. The state of Kentucky could go back to back national championships. Kentucky winning last year, Louisville winning this year, and Kentucky and Louisville are ranked number 1 and 2 for next season.
Oh, yes, but, did you hear, is Michigan keeping Stauskas?
Well, Stauskas, you ever heard the phrase, "You just weren't meant for the NBA"?
Yeah.
That's what a lot of players in college are. They're never meant for the NBA. And that's why I honestly think Nick Stauskas, unless he somehow takes his game to the next level. I know he was really good against Kansas, hitting all those threes, and he was pretty good all this season, stroking it from beyond the arc, and hey, he's a Canadian boy. So, I don't think he's going to go pro. If he goes pro, it'll be a shock for me.
Right. He was hot and cold. He had his good games and he had his bad games. But when he was on, he was on. But if he wasn't...
And then when he was off, you could definitely tell he was off when he was off.
Yes, definitely. So he doesn't possess all the qualities that he would need to go to the NBA. As you said, I don't think... I mean, if he does, that'd be great. Shocker. But still, it'd be great for him.
Well, and as of right now, the guys that have already declared the NBA draft are as follows. You got the Pittsburgh team, which you obviously know this guy, Steven Adams, 7.2 points per game, 6.3 rebounds per game, a beast down low. He's declared draft. And then, of course, C.J. Aiken from St. Joseph's, 10.4 points a game. Anthony Bennett, another Canadian from UNLV. He averaged 16.1 points per game with 8.1 rebounds per game. So, again, another beast down low. And again, another team that really, really upset me, New Mexico Lobos and the UNLV Rebels. I'm telling you, UNLV was favored to go at least to the Sweet 16 just with Anthony Bennett. I put them on my bracket to go. I put New Mexico to win it all, and New Mexico lost in the first round to the University of Harvard, one of the biggest shocks in the NCAA tournament all time. Except for maybe Florida Gulf Coast beating Georgetown, which that's another story that we may get into later. Ben McLemore declared pro. Michael Carter-Williams of Syracuse declared pro. Victor Oladipo from Indiana. Everybody knows that name. One of the best players in the NCAA last year. But again, Victor Oladipo, Cody Zeller, both from Indiana, both going pro this next year. Those two guys, I just don't see them as NBA threats.
Yeah, neither do I. It's just those qualities, but, I mean, they could make it. Anybody, well, not anybody, I'll use that term loosely. College basketball players, they're all different. The ones that stand out the most usually will make it.
Yeah.
To pro, NBA, if they go draft, if they don't want to stay in college, which I've heard some instances where they could go pro, but then they stay in college because they like college basketball better. They play for the love of the game and not just, money.
Well, and most players have that ability to sense whether they can make it in the NBA or not. If you know you're not going to make it to the NBA, you might as well stay all 4 seasons, graduate with your college, maybe try to go pro in the draft. Maybe. I mean, who knows? You can always try. But, you know, you can make a name for yourself in college. Another guy that's going to be going pro this year is Deshaun Thomas of Ohio State, averaging 22.3 points per game. And yet they still think Ohio State is the 6th best team in the nation, losing their best player. I'm telling you, the recruiting of the big name schools like Kentucky, Louisville, Michigan State, Duke, Ohio State, Florida, North Carolina, Syracuse, all those teams in the top 10 going into next season, and you're looking at guys and teams that were not in the Final Four, not in the Elite Eight, not in the Sweet 16. Look at Arizona. Arizona Wildcats are ranked 4th going into next year. We're talking about a Pac-10 team, folks. Not a Big 10, not the Big 12, not the ACC. And if we're going to get really technical, which, you know, we saw these teams, the Atlantic 10 Division Conference, we saw some of those teams making a run. These small schools, but that's what we like. We like in the 64 teams that make the tournament, 68 technically, but 64. We like seeing the Cinderella stories, don't you?
Oh yeah, totally. It sends diversity, you know. And that's what I like. I like diversity.
Yeah, you don't want to necessarily see the powerhouse teams constantly winning like Duke. Duke lost in the Elite Eight. Good, I'm glad. I mean, it's about time Duke gets kicked out early. You know, Louisville hasn't necessarily been a powerhouse team. They had a good team last year. They had a good team before that with Peyton Siva, Seattle, Washington native, out here in the Northwest, reportedly a born-again Christian as well. So you've got a bunch of guys in there that, you know, they're good players. They make their teams good. But Michigan State, another coach. Look at the coaching staffs. Coach Calipari, Coach Pitino, Coach Tom Izzo, Coach Mike Krzyzewski, Coach Thad Matta. Those top coaches, 5 of those coaches in the top 6 are probably the best coaches in the NCAA right now. Billy Donovan of Florida. You constantly see all these good coaches with the good teams. You know, I don't know, Jim Boeheim of Syracuse, Jim Beeline of Michigan. You know, the good teams, the good programs bring in the good coaches to get it done. Let's just say that. The probabilities...
Yeah, coaches.
Yeah.
Totally.
It's
help the team. You can have good players, bad coaching, and have an awful season, you know.
Yeah.
It's the coaches that bring everyone together and learn how to utilize the talents that their players already have and put them on a team with other people and have the talents help the team. Like, that's what great coaches do.
Yeah. Well, in Indiana, look at Indiana. They're losing Victor Oladipo, Cody Zeller next year. They're also going to lose Abel. Looks like he's going to transfer. He wants to leave Indiana. Didn't get much playing time last year, but in the playing time that he had, he was good. Coach Tom Crean, another good coach. Indiana, they don't have as good of players next year, but look out. Big Ten teams are unbelievable. They were incredible this year. The pre-draft rankings, Big Ten, in the top 25, you got Michigan State, you have Ohio State, you've got Indiana, obviously. Indiana, I think Indiana can make another run this year. So, as opposed to last year, Iowa as well. Iowa's another Big Ten team that's going to be ranked in the top 25. So, the Big Ten, again, you know, I know you're a, let's see, what's Pittsburgh? An Atlantic 10, I think, is what Pittsburgh is, right? Or are they Big 12? I think Pittsburgh's Atlantic 10. Yeah, Pittsburgh's Atlantic 10. I think they're Atlantic 10. The probabilities of people going, you got Trey Burke, you've got Gorky Zhang, which I can obviously see Gorky Zhang going pro. Tim Hardaway Jr., Nerlens Noel, Kelly Olczyk from Gonzaga, Russ Smith from Louisville, and then the maybes: C.J. Fair, P.J. Hairston, Shane Larkin, Doug McDermott, Mitch McGarry, James Michael McAdoo from North Carolina, Otto Porter Jr. from Georgetown, Glenn Robinson III of Michigan, Rashid Suleiman of Duke. So, you know, this year's draft class could be one of the best draft class in the NBA.
Oh, totally.
And
now, what do you think? Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, I think that this is all attributed to the good coaching of these teams.
Oh, yeah. They brought out the best in this draft class. Totally.
You had a question?
Tim Hardaway Jr. I know. I've been thinking about him. We talked about him at the game.
Yeah.
What do you think about him? You know, in the championship Final Four, he really wasn't. I mean, he did good. I should remember vividly that tomahawk dunk that he did.
Oh, that was...
What else? I mean...
Yeah. Well, and it's a shame that if the only thing you remember is the guy's one dunk, and that's what everybody remembers. That's the only thing I remember. I only remember the dunk. That's it. And it's a shame, you know, I mean, he had an incredible regular season, 14.5 points per game for Tim Hardaway Jr. He was probably, in my eyes, the second best player during the regular season for the Michigan Wolverines. But I don't know. I mean, it's a shame that, you know, he was a sleeper. He was a sleeper in the tournament, and Michigan could have done so much better. You know, and here's the thing. They said this in a documentary. They basically decide before the game who feels hot and who doesn't feel hot going into a game. And they try their best to get the guy the ball through the whole game. And unfortunately, Tim Hardaway Jr.'s name must have never gotten picked.
Must not have. But, you know, he did so great in the regular season, and when the championship came and everything, it was just like cold as ice.
Yeah. The lights...
He took a few jumpers, you know. Yeah. I remember him taking a few, but they didn't fall really.
Yeah. Well, and he had problems dribbling the ball in the championship game as well. He turned the ball over quite a bit.
Yeah, turnovers definitely will kill the team.
Yeah,
but he is a good player.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, he's a junior, and it looks like he's probably going to go pro, but I just don't see him making much of a difference in the NBA. I would really like to see most of the Michigan players that were here this year come back next year. You know, because they've all had that 1 year. They've all had the tournament experience. They've all had national championship game experience. And I know it's so hard to get back. And that's why you see so much emotion on the players that lose, because they aren't going to ever get back there probably, unless you're like Kentucky or Louisville, where the recruitment is just incredible. And the players decide to stay for another year because the coach says, hey, we're going to have another good team next year, so come back another year. For Michigan, I think that's it. I mean, especially if you lose, I mean, and Trey Burke's already declared pro, so he's done. So their best player's gone. But guys like we talked about, Spike Albrecht, if he works in the offseason, maybe puts on a little bit more weight because he's quite small, you know, I mean, hey, next year, Michigan could be in the top 25. They'll probably make the tournament. It'd be sad if they didn't, but it is possible. Kentucky did not make the tournament this year, and they won it all last year. So it is possible for a good team that was this past year to not be a good team next year because of losing so many players. But anyways, so I think we're going to have you on in the second segment as well. We're going to talk some NFL. That's kind of why we have you on here, the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette NFL analyst. But because you went to the championship game last week, we figured we might as well have you on the show for college basketball.
Yeah, that was a disappointing game, but it was fun to watch.
Oh, yeah, I mean, and even the Division II game on Sunday afternoon had been pretty exciting.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great experience. I loved it. It's the first time I've gone in several years, so I enjoyed it thoroughly.
Yeah. All right, well, we'll get to the NFL next. We're going to take a commercial break. We'll talk Pittsburgh Steelers, obviously, with the departure of Mike Wallace, Willie Colon, and Rashard Mendenhall. And is that everybody that's departed? Is that everybody that's departed, or is there more?
Oh, no. Much more. Thinking Starks as well.
Yep, Starks is gone. That's right. I forgot about that. And, of course, we don't know if Ben Roethlisberger is going to be good next year or not. It's one of those things where, you know, we don't know. Maybe. We'll see.
We will see, unfortunately.
We'll get to the...
We'll talk about that next segment.
Yes. We'll get to the NFL next. Stay right with us. The Caleb Turner Talk Show. Phil Davis stays with us live. The Caleb Turner Talk Show rolls on after this. The Anchor Radio Network live.
The Los Angeles Lakers and the San Antonio Spurs play tomorrow live right here on the Anchor Radio Network. Coverage beginning at 7 o'clock. Live from Los Angeles, the Staples Center. The Lakers will be without Kobe Bryant for the remainder of this season and the playoffs, and of course, the start of next season as well with a torn Achilles tendon out 6 to 9 months. But the Lakers push for the playoffs, one up on Utah. They can clinch a playoff spot tomorrow with a win over the San Antonio Spurs. And we'll have the coverage right here on the Anchor Radio Network.
We're back live on the Caleb Turner Talk Show Anchor Radio Network. April 13th, 2013 edition. Edition number 17, by the way, for those of you out there keeping track. We just got done talking NCAA basketball with Phil Davis of the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, who's actually a football insider. But we figured, hey, he went to the Final Four last week. We might as well talk college basketball for him. And we were going to talk college basketball anyways. It's just a day to talk about college basketball. We're also going to get into the NFL in just a couple of minutes. Phil Davis still on the air with us. We'll let the music roll before Phil talks because we may not be able to hear him there in the loudspeakers, but we'll see. And we are officially live on the Caleb Turner Talk Show Anchor Radio Network. Phil, you still with us?
I'm here.
All right, Phil Davis of the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette getting into the NFL segment that we have been wanting to have. This is the preseason talks. We'll probably have to talk again in edition either 20 or 25. Probably more like 20. But I'm hoping that when I go to Uganda, West Africa, I can somehow get the broadcast and we can somehow get you on the air when I'm in Uganda, West Africa.
That would be great.
It'd be awesome. And
when are you going there, by the way?
June, I think June 13th. No, maybe June 11th is when we fly out. I think it's June 11th. I believe we fly out June 11th.
Oh, that's wonderful. You said Uganda. You're going to where again?
Uganda, West Africa. It's going to be the first time I've ever been... Yeah, first time I've ever been out of North America.
Wow, that's going to be fun. You're going to love it.
Yeah, well, in North America, meaning I've never been outside of Canada and the U.S. I've never been to Mexico. So
you northern continent. Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, the Western Hemisphere. Yeah, something like that. But
yeah, I'm going to South America this summer, too.
What part of South America?
Oh, let's see on the calendar. I got to go look it up. Well, why waste the time? I'm going to let's just say I'm going to South America.
South America, okay. All right, but that's no problem. The itinerary is not really much of a problem. Probably we wouldn't want to know where... Well, no, we might want to know where you're going, but some people that might be listening may track you. Guyana, okay, that's right, Guyana. I think I remember that. I think I remember seeing that. Yeah, I think I remember seeing that on... I think I remember seeing that on one of your blogs that you have there with the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette.
Yeah. Several blogs we have going. We have to be public relations because we are the informing state. We are the people who inform the people. We are the insiders to Pittsburgh. All the teams. I'm mostly, as most of your listeners know, and you do, mostly with the football division. But I do enjoy watching some sports such as hockey, basketball,
The 76ers, that stink.
What?
The 76ers, Philadelphia 76ers. Of course, you're Pittsburgh, not Philadelphia.
Yeah, I'm mostly Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, remember?
Yeah, that's right. But like Pennsylvania sports.
Pennsylvania, yes. Isn't that wonderful that there are the Philadelphia Eagles, Pittsburgh Steelers,
Okay, that's right. That's right.
They combined, right?
Well, yeah, but you're definitely not a Philadelphia Eagles fan.
Definitely, no.
Basically,
do you remember that?
You guys are rivals.
Eagles?
Yeah, you guys have a history, right?
Yeah, that was like way back. We didn't have enough players. They didn't have enough players. So we combined and made a team. It was awful.
Okay, well, I did not know that for some reason.
I think the Pennsylvania Eagles, I think they won 2 games all season.
Whoa.
If I remember correctly.
Whoa. That's wild.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Well, there's a reason why there are not very many states that have two teams that are right next to each other.
You got New York.
Well, yeah, you have the Jets and the Giants, but I'm thinking about all the sports. I mean, oh, yeah, that's true. Because in New York, you also have the New Jersey Devils, the New York Rangers, and the New York Islanders, all in the same state, and they're all hockey teams.
Yeah, they're all right there. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, it's just like California. California has a lot of teams that are right next to each other.
California's bigger than New York.
Yeah, and yet they have the same amount of sports teams, basically.
Yeah, they're a little bit more spread out in California, though, I think.
Yeah. Well, and again, it depends on the sport. Like, you weren't going to see very many fans going to a San Jose Sharks game, hockey, or well, it depends. Like Sacramento Kings, you're not going to see very many fans going to a Sacramento Kings basketball game. It's just not a big thing in Sacramento.
You're right. Yeah, it's not a big thing. But here in Pennsylvania, all sports are major. We are very sports oriented. We like to go out and support our teams.
Yeah.
I like to too.
Alrighty, so the draft is 12 days away. April 25th, my birthday. Again, I'll just throw it out there for everybody to know. My birthday is on the 25th. Let's see here. The major free agent signings, again, we're going to talk Pittsburgh and Seattle, but I'm going to mention some other teams as well with the big signings. Of course, everybody knows Mike Wallace left Pittsburgh to the Miami Dolphins. Your take on that?
Well, I say good riddance, but, other people liked him. Mike Wallace last year was really a pain. He held out, You remember that? I don't know if you remember. Mike Wallace held out and then came in after all the preseason training. Well, he came in right before preseason, so we didn't get to go into the training camps or anything, and he was really cold all year. I mean, he caught some touchdown passes. He did fairly decent, but he was never as good as he was as soon as we got him. So, we still have Antonio Brown, and we should be good. I mean, wide receiver-wise, we should be good.
Yeah.
The whole team is a whole nother story.
Well, and you guys lost guard Willie Colon to the Jets. Is that a big thing or not?
Yeah, I mean, everything's a big thing. It's just that it's all happening at the same time is really what's taking us to pants.
And then also Rashard Mendenhall. Is that a big thing going to Arizona?
Yeah, well, he was out most of the year this year with some injuries, so it's important, very important. As a part of the whole, it's very, very extremely important. Running back position, yes, we need him, but we have two very fresh, very young, fast running backs that can carry the ball somewhat. I mean, they need help. But, yeah, I did like Mendenhall. I liked him. He was one of my favorite running backs. He has been for several years. This year, his injuries just kept him from performing as well as he should have, which was a disappointment. But now he's gone.
Pittsburgh had a lot of players that struggled with the injury bug this year. Is there a certain... Yeah, is there a certain position that you would like to see the Pittsburgh Steelers upgrade on? Whether it's the quarterback, the wide receiver, the running back, maybe a cornerback on defense, a defensive end, defensive lineman, maybe a safety. Is there a certain player that you would like to see Pittsburgh go out and try to nab with maybe some, money, maybe wave some money in his face, say, hey, let's go to Pittsburgh, let's come play, we'll give you X amount of money, let's play hard, let's try to not, maybe a healthy player, a player that can remain healthy.
Yeah, speaking of that money thing, I don't know how much they actually have to wave around. I mean, we tried to reconstruct Harrison's contract, and we couldn't meet eye to eye because we didn't have enough money to pay for him. And we were really struggling with our salary cap this year. And as for a position that we need to get filled, we need to start back with the basics of the offensive line. It's really what we have been struggling with health-wise this past few years. And now that Starks is gone, we're probably going to end up pulling people over. Hopefully we'll get someone good in the draft, I'm hoping, for the offensive line.
Yeah.
And then maybe we can build that up. And we need to go back to running, of course. So I hope we work a lot with the running back we already have. I don't know if we're really going to need to sign a new running back, but we're going to need to work with the ones that we already have. I mean, that's what we need to do. We've been over our cap for a while, and now we just have to start letting people go. The people that we needed, I mean, we're going to miss Harrison, definitely, on defense. And Troy Polamalu, he's been injured. And Cologne, it's just...
Yeah, I actually forgot. I forgot about Polamalu. I totally forgot that he was hurt for quite a while there. But what I'm thinking is, do the Steelers need to start considering a quarterback?
Well, we signed Ben for quite a while. I think we have like 3 or 4 years left on him. He's the leader that we need. He is.
No, but I'm asking...
There.
I'm asking, in your personal thinking, do the Steelers need to give up on Ben Roethlisberger and restart with the quarterback?
Truthfully, in my personal opinion, I do like Ben Roethlisberger. I like his style.
Whoa! I'm not asking if you like the guy. I'm not asking if you like him. I'm asking, as a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, what do you want to see done with the quarterback?
Oh, you're trying to back me in a corner, aren't you?
Woo!
All right. Well, right now, are you talking draft-wise? Like replacing
No.
him totally?
No, I don't think Pittsburgh can go after a young quarterback. I think Pittsburgh needs somebody like Tony Romo, or somebody like who else is out there? Somebody like Tony Romo, or somebody like Ben Roethlisberger, but not Ben Roethlisberger. Somebody who's different. Maybe somebody, because Pittsburgh Steelers have been known as Ben Roethlisberger's team now for how many years? How many years has he played with him as starting quarterback?
I think it's since 2008. Don't count me on that. I don't know how long he's been here.
So it's only been 5 years.
I think it was when he came in as a rookie. He came in Super Bowl 40. I remember he was there in 40.
Okay, so then it's been at least 8 years then.
Yeah, I think it's been 2005, 2006, I think, is actually when he came to be with us. But what do I think they should do in the position of the quarterback concerning Ben Roethlisberger?
Yes.
Is that what you're asking?
Yes.
Personally, I think we should hold on to him for a little while more because we need some stability in our team right now. And now that we're getting rid of our defensive captain and our running back, and we did keep, I'm drawing a blank here. Well, we got rid of Mike Wallace, but we got some good wide receivers still. We still got
Cromartie.
We need someone who we can trust. Someone who's been with us for a while, someone we can lean on, someone we can believe in. And that's what we're going to do with Ben Roethlisberger. But I think eventually, over time, we are going to need to start looking over in the next 1, 2, 3 years. We're going to need to start looking for other options as a quarterback. We're going to need some of the same style, as you said, but not exactly Ben Roethlisberger. We've been struggling with our backup quarterbacks as well.
Right.
So maybe not totally get rid of him. Maybe keep him as like a second string or something. And he can teach the first string, especially if the first string's new or a rookie or something, then he can be a kind of a quarterback coach.
Yeah. Like
Charlie Batch should be right now, but he isn't. But yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah. I mean, me as a Seattle Seahawks fan, I don't necessarily follow the Steelers. I'm not a Steelers fan, obviously. I'm definitely not a Steelers fan. But the Steelers are like What is a team that has been known to produce a lot of drama? Well, for us here in BC, it's the Vancouver Canucks. Team produces a lot of drama. Roberto Luongo's starting goalie. For the past 3 seasons, everybody's been saying, "Oh, you gotta trade Luongo, trade him, get rid of him. We have a backup goalie who's good." And now the backup goalie is our starting goalie. So the Pittsburgh Steelers are well, I shouldn't say very. They are a resemblance of the Vancouver Canucks in the same fact that there's a lot of drama, and I don't know if Pittsburgh has tons of drama. I don't know if the news reporters or maybe guys in your close to your office there at the Gazette, I don't know if they're constantly talking about, "Oh man, I wonder what the Steelers are going to do this year. I wonder who we got to get rid of." Or as a Steelers fan, are the reporters in the Gazette, I don't know. I mean, here in BC, it seems like the news reporters, the radio analysts, aren't necessarily die-hard Canucks fans. Are they die-hard Steelers fans at the Gazette?
Pittsburgh fans are everywhere. Now, The ones that I work with on my floor, in my building, in my section, yeah, we're Steelers fans. I mean, there's a few of us who are just working. Not me, of course. I'm a Steelers fan. Now, there are a few people who just do the job, get the money, are good, very, very good reporters, very good interviewers, very good at getting information. They just aren't into it as much as others. So, yeah, there are some people of those kinds, but I'm definitely not one of them. I am definitely into sports, totally. 100%. Sports is like my job, my life. So yeah, that's me.
Yeah. It's just, I think sometimes the reporters, maybe necessarily the announcers or commentators or the radio dudes or guys that go to the stadium and get interviews after the game with the players, they just seem like they're going through the motions. And I know, like, when the good teams make it deep in the playoffs, you definitely see the reporters. They definitely get into it. And I know Steeler fans are definitely everywhere. We see that constantly. There's Steelers fans out here in BC. We see stickers and flags up on people's cars. It's like, come on! You're like halfway across the continent and you're a Steelers fan. How'd you get here to BC? Come on, Seahawks fans, guys! Northwest!
But yes, Pittsburgh fans are everywhere. In several Super Bowls, it's been, 20 years? We've been known to pack the away stadiums full of our fans. Because we would buy the tickets before the home team would get the tickets. And then we'd fill up the stadium, and we're coming out of the tunnel, and the terrible towels are everywhere, and we're in their house.
Yeah.
It's because we have fans all over the place. And the emotion, it's kind of like, I don't want to compare us quite, but we're kind of like the Baltimore Ravens in the fact that our fans really get into the game.
Yeah.
And they're really seriously fans. I mean, I know some Steelers fans who are 50% Steelers fans, bystanders. Oh, I heard about the game, or I checked the scores, or,
Yeah.
But then there's the ones that go home, record the game, watch the game, wear the jerseys, have the barbecue.
They wear their jerseys while they're watching the PVR game. That's what I always think is hilarious. It's like, the game's already over, folks.
Hey, that's me.
Yeah.
I always wear actually, I have a Ben Roethlisberger jersey that I wear, so, be careful there.
Well, and again, like I said, I'm not necessarily calling out Ben Roethlisberger, but here's what I'm going to say. Next season, if the Steelers don't make the playoffs, Roethlisberger is gone, period.
Well, next season's going to be rough.
Yeah.
I tell you what. We have to dismantle the team completely first. Well, I'm not saying get rid of everyone. I'm just saying we have to start over, pretty much, is, in my eyes, what they would have to do. Because a lot of the team is old, and they get injured, and we're just going to need to restart, restructure, and then re-enter, as the Steelers everyone used to know, you know? But it's just going to be a struggling few next years, I think.
Well, again, I mean, like,
rebuilding, going back to the basics, train, heavy. So we might not do good for the next few years, but we'll be back, definitely.
well, looking through some of my old stuff, some of my old NFL segments that we've talked about in the past, how I ranked my top 10 QBs, and I had Ben Roethlisberger in a tie for 10th with Matt Stafford and RG3. And that was being generous to Mr. Roethlisberger. That was very generous. And that was, when was that? We would have done that. That would have been towards the. That would have been just after the Super Bowl that we had those. I had my preseason top 10 QBs. And I had Tom Brady, obviously, as number 1. But now that Wes Welker is gone, I think I have to take that back.
Oh, well, see, I never tried like Tom Brady anyway, but that's just my personal opinion. Go ahead.
Well, we know that the Pittsburgh fans totally dislike Tom Brady, obviously.
Nobody likes Tom Brady, unless you're a New England fan.
Well, yeah, I'm not much of a Tom Brady fan myself.
The Cowboys don't like Tom Brady. The Packers don't like Tom Brady. The Ravens don't like Tom Brady. I don't think anybody likes Tom Brady, except for Patriots.
And the University of Michigan.
Yeah, I am the University of Michigan.
Unless you're a die-hard Lions fan.
What?
Unless you're a die-hard Lions fan, then maybe you're not necessarily a Tom Brady fan.
No, I'm not a die-hard Lions fan.
Well, no, I'm just saying, like, because Michigan Wolverines, college football, that's where Tom Brady's from.
No. I mean, Lions, if they win, they win. I'll watch it at least, I'll see. I'll keep an eye on them. They're showing some promise. They're getting some players, getting it around. Their defense needs a little work, but...
Yeah, well,
they eventually make the playoffs this year. I think they will.
Yeah, a notable player, though, that they did lose, Cliff Averill, came here to Seattle, a defensive end, which we desperately needed out here in the Northwest. But so Detroit loses probably one of their best defensive ends, except for maybe Ndamukong Suh. But I don't like Ndamukong Suh. Nobody likes Ndamukong Suh. The guy's dirty. The guy's got no class. The guy steps on people. He kicks people in the nuts.
That is true.
He kicks people. Yeah,
I don't like his style.
Yeah, he's weird. Very, very weird. The Detroit Lions did go out and get kicker David Akers from Philadelphia. So, yeah, he's old.
Yeah.
So, who did Detroit have previously?
I don't even know. It was probably some guy with a weird last name.
Yeah, it probably was. Yeah, that's definitely... If you don't know the kicker's name, it's probably best you didn't, because if you try to pronounce it, you might be saying a curse word in Portuguese.
Yeah, well, some people's names are like that.
Yeah, like Ndamukong Suh.
Have a guy that's our kicker with a good, solid name. Could be misinterpreted. Sean Sweetham. I mean, how could you misinterpret that?
Yeah, I recognize that name. Alrighty, well, Phil, it was good having you on the broadcast today. Again, many new signings in the NFL. Of course, we all know Tony Romo signed with Dallas. Julian Edelman signed with New England. Brady Quinn signed with Seattle. Kevin Kolb signed with Buffalo. Colt McCoy traded to San Francisco. Matt Flynn traded to Oakland. Again, if there's anything new that breaks out in the NFL within the next couple of days, usually the big trade is made just before the draft, because they trade their draft picks to a team because, some teams like to rebuild. So, I don't know. I think if we're going to see a big trade in the NFL, it's going to happen within the next 7 days. So, that's just my call on that.
So, one quick question. This next year, do you think it's going to be more offense-oriented or defense oriented, or special teams. If you wanted to go with special teams, but I'm thinking it. I don't know. What would you say? What is it? Is it going to be a more offensive year where the team with the best offense is going to rule the field, or is it going to be defense?
Well, we saw Baltimore, obviously, in my eyes, shock everybody. I don't think anybody thought Baltimore was going to win the Super Bowl coming into the season.
It was a very offensive year.
Yeah, and especially if you're a Ravens fan.
Defensive team.
Yeah, like, the only people that might have picked Baltimore to win the Super Bowl would have been Ravens fans, and even then, if you're a legitimate Ravens fan, why would you pick the Ravens to win the Super Bowl coming into this year? They stink! At least that's what everybody thought. So, they shocked everybody. If I'm going to pick a team that right now probably will make the playoffs, but aren't expected to go all the way. Okay, when was the last time we saw the San Diego Chargers do anything? With Phillip Rivers and Antonio Gates.
He was drafted the same year as Ben Roethlisberger. Actually, the Steelers got Phillip Rivers.
Traded
him for Ben Roethlisberger.
Yeah. So
they haven't done anything in a while, and it was good for us because we won that Super Bowl that year.
Here is a funny joke trade. Phillip Rivers for Ben Roethlisberger. Do it again.
What?
Phillip Rivers for Ben Roethlisberger.
Yeah.
Would Pittsburgh do that?
Would?
Yeah, would they?
No, not again.
Well, I mean, like, not right now, but, like, maybe next year or 2 years from now, if Ben does not do well.
Would we take Phillip Rivers? Probably not. He's not our caliber. He's not our type of quarterback that we would need to fill Ben's shoes. But, yeah, that's an interesting question.
Back to what you were talking about, offensive or defense. In my eyes, I think this season it's going to come down to 3 teams. 3 teams is what it's going to come down to. And if we want to be legitimate, let's say 4 teams, okay? Everybody wants to know, will the New England Patriots, Tom Brady, Bill Belichick, can they keep it going after being together for all these years? That's number 1 team to look out for. I don't think they're going to be the same team that they have been in previous years. I think that they're going to probably make the division, make the playoffs, win the division. Let me get the order right. But I just can't see them going deep again. I mean, they didn't really go deep this year, okay? They made it and played Baltimore. They won 1 playoff game, right? They beat Houston. And then they went to play Baltimore and lost. I don't think they win that first playoff game this year. I think this is it. I think last year was their last year in the window. Brady's getting old. I think he's at the top of his peak, and I think he's going down. Team number 2, the San Francisco 49ers. Can they keep it going with Colin Kaepernick? Alex Smith, by the way, is gone. Did not he go to... Where did he go? He went to... Was it Kansas City? Yeah, he went to Kansas City. Alex Smith went to Kansas City. So, San Francisco has definitely put Colin Kaepernick in the number 1 position. You got Vernon Davis coming back. They added... oh my goodness. The wide receiver from Baltimore. Was it Ed Reed? Yeah, they added... No. Yeah. They added Aquan Bolden. They added Aquan Bolden to their team. Yes, they added him to their team. They still got a lot of the players that they had last season. Vernon Davis, Michael Crabtree. They still got Frank Gore. And, of course, Colin Kaepernick. We all know Colin Kaepernick. So that's team number 2. Team number 3, the Green Bay Packers. Can Aaron Rodgers do it again? And I think everybody's like, oh, Atlanta, or maybe in your neck of the woods, Pittsburgh. Will Pittsburgh have another season? A team to look out for? Maybe a team like Houston. Can they keep the defense going with J.D. Swat? Hello. But I don't think... I think Green Bay is going to be that team that, hey, maybe this is going to be their year where they can win it again. Maybe Aaron Rodgers another year. But again, this is Aaron Rodgers' window, I think, after this season for him. For Tom Brady, it was last year. For Aaron Rodgers, it's this year. It's now or never for Rodgers to win that all-important second ring to get you into the Hall of Fame. Team number 4, hello, the Seattle Seahawks, entering a new regime here in the Northwest, adding Percy Harvin, wide receiver, adding Cliff Averill on the defense. They still got Leroy Hill. They still got Marcus Trufant. And, of course, Russell Wilson, Marshawn Lynch, Merrick Turvdon. They got everybody coming back next year. Look out for the Seahawks, possible division winners. And, again, we mentioned San Francisco is the number 2 team. They're going to be competing for the NFC West. It's going to be crazy. Boy, I tell you, I'm already looking forward to next NFL season, and we haven't even gotten to the quarter mark of baseball yet. I mean, we just started the baseball season. We're not even 20 games into baseball, and I'm already looking forward to next year's football season. So, there's my 4 teams to look out for. My sleeper team. My team that's on the edge, that I'm not sure if they're going to, they're the iffy team that may turn up. Baltimore. Defending champs. I think they're the sleeper team. I don't think they're going to go deep next year. Joe Flacco looking to make the money, making the dough, cha-ching, 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 with his new contract as the Baltimore Ravens starting quarterback. No, Baltimore will not be back in the Super Bowl next year. They probably aren't even going to make it to the championship game with the AFC. No, Baltimore's not going to go deep. My team that I think would be the most shocking team to be good next year, Pittsburgh Steelers. I think that if they are a good team next year, it will be the biggest shock with the team that they have right now. I could see Pittsburgh going 9-7 and maybe winning the wild card, maybe getting one of the wild card spots, but going deep in the playoffs, no, definitely not.
Well, when we make it to the playoffs, we will be happy, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. I mean, and here in the Northwest. Here in the Northwest, if the Seattle Seahawks, it's basically Super Bowl or bust is what everybody is saying here in the Northwest, because they have the dream team. They've spent all this money that they've had just sitting around. So I'm not saying, why'd you spend all the money? Spend all the money! Bring a championship here to the Northwest. We got ripped off back in Super Bowl 40. There against Pittsburgh. Was it 40? Yeah, it was 40. I think it was 40. So, yeah, so, I mean, come on. Get us a Super Bowl. Here in the Northwest, we have no Super Bowl. We have no World Series. We have no Stanley Cup. We have no NBA championship. We have no MLS Cup. We have nothing out here in the Northwest. We need something here to be able to say, hey, look at the Northwest and what we've got up in our rafters. Look at the championship banner. Look at the trophy we've got. We have tons of MVPs. We have tons of points per game leaders or points in a season leaders. We have a Rocket Richard. We have a goal leader. We had a Rookie of the Year candidate last year. We don't want that. We want the championship. Forget MVP. Forget Coach of the Year. They're all nice things, and point leaders and goal leaders and passing leaders and touchdown leaders and assist leaders and all that stuff. But no, we want a championship. That's the battle cry here in the Northwest. Bring us a championship.
Well, I hope you get your championship. I really do. Just don't get 6 Super Bowls, all right?
Yeah, well, I think the odds of us getting 6 Super Bowls ain't happening in a long time. It will be at least 6 years, at least.
That's if you went back to back to back to back to back to back, I think.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. But hey, I mean, I could see back to back with the team that we got, but we'll see. We'll see what they got.
Yep.
That is my NFL rant featured by McDonald's. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba! I'm loving it. But anyways, that's my funny moment of the day on the broadcast. Phil Davis of the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette is brought to you by Tell Us You're Authorized Dealers. Tell us the future is friendly. Phil Davis, thanks for doing this. The Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, always happy to have you on the show. And of course, take care of the summer vacation coming up. Where are you guys going for summer vacation, by the way?
Oh, yeah, we're going... well, I'm going just South America, just hanging out.
So that's it. You guys aren't going to go to Miami or maybe Bermuda or something like that? No.
We'll stop by in Miami, yeah. I think we'll spend some time there. Sounds like a plan.
Yeah, well, you were just in Bermuda, so what am I thinking? You guys wouldn't go Bermuda back-to-back years, would you?
No, that'd be beating a dead horse. We've already been there, done that.
Phil Davis, thanks for doing this, man.
Oh, thanks for asking me, Caleb. Always a pleasure.
Yeah, we'll have to do this again sometime.
Totally.
Phil Davis, Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, joining us live here on the Anchor Radio Network's Caleb Turner Talk Show. Nice guy. I enjoy having him on the broadcast. He's pretty cool. I've known him for several years now in the sports world. We started the broadcast back on December 22nd. I was like, hey, let's have an NFL segment. I believe we've had him on here now 3 or 4 times. Avid Pittsburgh Steelers fan. Of course, we have our disagreements because I'm a Seahawks fan. Super Bowl 40. That's all I can say. Super Bowl 40. Anchor Radio Network's NHL, NBA, and possibly MLB segment is next. We're back live, Caleb Turner Talk Show, Anchor Radio Network. Last segment of the day. April 13th, 2013. 17th edition of the show. Beginning December 22nd, 2012 was the Anchor episode of the Anchor Radio Network's Caleb Turner Talk Show. Talking Canucks right here on the Anchor Radio Network's Caleb Turner Talk Show. Last segment. 4-3 loss to the Colorado Avalanche today, this afternoon, noon. Worst team in hockey, the Colorado Avalanche, and we lose 4-3. That's unacceptable. Very, very unacceptable. And I know the Canucks have been playing some pretty bad teams of late. Calgary, Edmonton, Colorado, Phoenix. I mean, Phoenix isn't in the playoffs. I know they're fighting. They're 1 point back from Detroit, but they're considered a bad team in my book, folks. If you aren't in the playoffs, you're a bad team, period. All I'm saying is, the Sedins combined get 2 assists in this game. They should be bad team killers. Killers! They should be getting 6, 7, 8 points combined every time when you play a cellar dweller team. The leaders should step up. They should kick the Colorado Avalanche's rear ends out of their own stadium. I don't care if it's in Colorado. It could be in Vancouver. Blow them out. Where were the leaders in this game? Lapierre, Hansen, Garrison get the goals. In my eyes, none of those 3 are considered leaders on this Vancouver Canucks hockey team. Bieksa gives away the puck, costly first goal, just a couple minutes in. No room for error against a bad team. Because if you have errors against bad teams, you're going to have errors in the playoffs against the best teams in the league because they're the best teams in the league, because they made the playoffs. You lose against the bad teams, you're definitely going to lose against the good teams. This was only, and you can't say you were tired because this was only the 2nd game of the 5-game road trip. It'd be different if you lost in the 5th game, or maybe on Tuesday against, what do they got, Nashville, San Jose. It'd be different if you lose to San Jose. It'd be different if you lose to Nashville. Because it's deeper in the road trip. They play Nashville, you know, I don't know. I mean, I'm at a loss of words. Honestly am. You know, they play Chicago. Where? I mean, I don't know. Nashville, St. Louis, back-to-back games. And why I mentioned Chicago is because when the Canucks play Chicago, they bring their A game. They bring their A game against Chicago, and then they don't bring their A game against Colorado. That just makes a Canucks fan mad that you can't beat the teams that you're supposed to beat. They had not gotten beaten by Colorado in regulation since March of 2009. The streak's over of beating Colorado in regulation. Streak's over. As a Canucks fan, that's upsetting. They play in Dallas next Thursday. That'll be the 5th game of the road trip. And then they play at home against Detroit. At home against Chicago on Monday. Last home game of the year, the 25th. And then they ramp up the season in Edmonton on the 27th. 7 games left for the Canucks. They don't have a playoff spot wrapped up yet. They don't have the division wrapped up yet. If they won today, it would have put the axe down on the Minnesota Wild's necks for the Northwest Division. 7.2 seconds left in the game from getting it to overtime. You know, I think we could have spared if they would have gotten to overtime. It may not have been as upsetting. It still would have been pretty upsetting. I mean, come on, you lose to the worst team in the league. That's upsetting. 27 shots on net for Vancouver. How do they get 40-plus shots against a team that's better than the team that they played today, and you only get 27 on the worst team in hockey? I don't know. It is good to see Lapierre score. I'm not saying that it's bad that he scored. You know, Lapierre's been coming on. He's got now 4 goals on the season, 10 points. He had the shootout game winner a couple games ago against, who was that? I think it was earlier this month, right? If they played in a shootout, no, it would have been quite a while ago. Man, that's been a while ago. Wow. Forgetting all this, you got all these games and they all just kind of run together. It was a long time ago. Wow. I don't know, it might have been at Colorado. I can't remember, but anyways. It is good to see Jason Garrison get a goal, and it's good to see Jannik Hansen break his schneid of only 1 goal in like 10 games, 11 games. So, you know, good things happened today, but there was a lot more bad things that happened today than good things. I'm a diehard Canucks fan. It's upsetting to see them lay an egg, because this was technically lay an egg. I don't care if it was 4-3. You laid an egg when you lose to the worst team in hockey. That's called an egg. And they laid one. 22 saves for Schneid. He was world-class today. But another example of the world-class goaltending going to a waste, because the Canucks offensive leaders can't take the bull by the horns and win a hockey game for the team. You aren't in the playoffs. Schneider's not going to be able to win the games. Luongo, if Schneider goes down, Luongo's not going to be able to win the games for the team. The team has to win the game for the team. Schneider can't score. He can't do anything about the score. He can only prevent the other team from scoring. And he will have bad games. It's guaranteed. Look at Edmonton. Edmonton put up a 3 spot on him. 3 spot and 3 shots. So, I don't know. I mean, come on, guys. You know, you just laid your egg against Edmonton earlier on the 31st of March. Make that the 30th. You lost to San Jose 3-2. There's no room for error anymore. You can't just... There can't be these, you know, little mini 4-game win streaks. You know, okay, yeah, 4-game win streaks are good, but you can't just keep it at 4. It's got to keep going. I know you want to be careful. You want to be careful so you don't get injured. But you're getting paid millions to play. Come on. What does it take to score a puck? I know we're always, you know, getting high on the Canucks when they win a couple in a row, and then we always get low on them when they lose one. Because this is a hockey town. This is a die-hard hockey town. When the team loses, the fans are upset. When the team wins, the teams are on a high. When the team loses in the playoffs, the fans, unfortunately, are ticked off and they jump off the bandwagon. I take that back. There are a lot of bandwagon Canuck fans. I am not one of them. I've been a Canucks fan for 8 years and never considered jumping off the wagon. Actually, make that 9 years. I've been a Canucks fan for 9 years. The year before the lockout was when I became a hockey fan. I've never considered jumping off the bandwagon. The thoughts never crossed my mind. I'm going to be a Canucks fan until I die. Period. One thing that I will take out of this game, the defense is definitely contributing. Garrison with a goal, Hammes with an assist, Edler with an assist. it is good to see the defense contributing. Dan Hamhuis now 5th on the team in points. Alex Edler 7th on the team. Garrison 9th. BX 10th. That's sad, though, that you can't have your... Where's the offense? Where are the forwards at? It's the defense that are doing everything. Come on, guys. Henrik Sedin, Daniel Sedin, Alex Burrows. No, take that back. Henrik had 1 shot on net. Daniel and Burrows had none. No shots on net today for the 2 leading shot takers on this team. Okay, it's okay to have an off night, but not against the worst team in hockey. You have no excuse for having an off night. You can't blame it on the altitude, because the coach is making you have short shifts. Oh, boy. This week, 5-2 win at home against Calgary, 2-0 win against Phoenix, 4-1 win at Calgary, and of course, just today, the 4-3 loss in Colorado. In the 4 games that the Canucks have won this month, BX has a game winner, Burrows has a game winner, Kessler has a game winner, and Lapierre has a game winner. The other 2 games, 3-2 loss at San Jose and a 4-0 shellacking at home against Edmonton. And that is this month so far. 4-2 for the Vancouver Canucks, and they have won all games at home. 3-0 at home. 3-0. And then 1-2 on the road. The NHL, Pittsburgh Penguins have clinched, Montreal's clinched, Chicago's clinched, Anaheim is clinched. And Chicago and Pittsburgh have both clinched their division. There are so many different playoff scenarios right now. As of before the show started, it was Pittsburgh and the Rangers, Montreal and the Islanders, Washington and the Sens, Boston and Toronto. So you got no Canadian teams playing each other, so that's good. But more and more that I see the Winnipeg Jets play, the more and more I'm convinced they will not make the playoffs. The only way they're going to make the playoffs, I guess they could. But they're in tight. They only have 6 games left on the season, so the Rangers have 2 games in hand. Basically, Winnipeg has to go 4-1-1 to end the year, probably to make the playoffs. That's what they're going to have to do, because they can't win the division anymore. The Washington Capitals have finally woken up. The sleeping giant in the grade 8, Alexander Ovechkin, is alive and well now, tied for the league leading goals. And I don't know what happened tonight. Tampa Bay and Washington. The 2 goal leaders going at it. So I don't know what happened yet. Maybe we can get an update, Bob. We'll see. But there's so many different playoff scenarios. The team that are slipping, the Red Wings are slipping and sliding. The Wild are slipping and sliding. Dallas has won 4 straight, so they're making a push for the playoffs. And that's why I think Detroit's not going to make it and snap one of the... It is the longest streak in professional sports of a team consecutively making the playoffs, right up there with the Yankees. So, the Columbus Blue Jackets, maybe. They're only a point back. I still think it'd be a miracle if they make it. The Oilers have 8 games left, so they have a game at hand on 3 of the 4 teams that are ahead of them. So, for them... Edmonton's probably going to have to go 6-1-1 to finish the year to even have a chance, because they're 4 points back. Actually, 5 points back of a playoff spot. I take that back. They are 5 points back of a playoff spot. They're going to have to go 6-1-1 and get 13. Legitimately, they're going to have to go 8-0. But I think 6-1-1 would be nice. That puts you 8 points above the Wings of what they're right now, and you have to have the Wings go 3-4, and everybody else basically slip. That is the playoff scenarios, and considering the Buffalo Sabres still have a chance to make the playoffs, that's crazy. The Devils slipping, the Sabres, well, that's going to take a miracle. Winnipeg, well, they're right there, 1 point out, half game back, actually, technically, but to think the Winnipeg Jets could actually get as high as 7th. They could get 5th. They could get 3rd, but the odds aren't that high. Winnipeg's just got to get in. If Winnipeg gets into the playoffs, oh man, I'd love to see a playoff game in Winnipeg. That is going to be entertaining if that happens. Switching gears to the NBA, of course, we mentioned at the top of the hour, Kobe Bryant, surgery on his Achilles this morning, out 6 to 9 months. Man, I saw the highlights. Oh boy, it was tough to watch. It's when you get an opportunity to watch a guy that just puts a team on his back literally, this season, Kobe Bryant put the LA Lakers on his back. So far in April, he was averaging 45.3 minutes a game. They lose that for the rest of the season, the playoffs, possibly the beginning of next season. They lose the 27.3 points per game he's had this season. Third in the NBA. They lose that. It's not like the Lakers were going to go deep, but with Kobe, I mean, who knows? Now, can they make the playoffs? They play San Antonio tomorrow and Houston on Wednesday. The Utah Jazz play at Minnesota and at Memphis. So a couple of road games and a couple of teams that can prove to be spoiler. We'll see. Memphis has still got things to do. Their seed, their placement. So Memphis could be playing for a little bit there on that game. If the Lakers win tomorrow, I think they're in. Basically, it's a win and you're in situation for the Lakers. And for the Jazz, it's basically a lose and you're done. Both teams basically have to win out. I think the Lakers have a better advantage, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. I think one thing I'm going to have to find out is who has the tiebreak. I don't know if the Lakers do or the Jazz do. I'll have to find that out. But Kobe Bryant, best player in the NBA. I came out and said it. Best player in the NBA. Right now. Best player in the NBA, maybe second best all time. He's got to win that one more championship, but we'll see. He's out for the rest of the year, the playoffs, possibly at the beginning of next season. Well, probably. But we'll see. We'll see what Kobe Bryant has to say about that. Kobe knows his body more than anybody else knows his body. And of course, while I'm thinking about it, the Masters are going on this weekend. So that's something else that's going on. Tiger Woods is 3 under par going into tomorrow. As of the top of the hour, he was 4 back of the lead. I really like to compare Tiger Woods and Kobe Bryant alike. I like to compare them because they're both the kings of their sport right now. Tiger rules golf. Kobe rules ball. That does it for us, the Caleb Turner Talk Show, April 13, 2013 edition. Hope you have a good weekend. Enjoy the weather. Enjoy the last week and a half, 2 weeks of hockey, and the last weekend and first part of the week of basketball. Saturday, we will have NBA playoffs to talk about. The matchups will be set. Can't wait for that. Thanks for joining us. Have a good week and stay safe. Hope you all have good services tomorrow. Caleb Turner Talk Show, Anchor Radio Network. Keep it locked right here. This is the home of course, the Vancouver Canucks, Los Angeles Lakers, Seattle Seahawks, Vancouver Whitecaps. We love them all right here. Anchor Radio Network's Caleb Turner Talk Show. Again, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week.
You have been listening to a presentation of the Caleb Turner Talk Show on the Anchor Radio Network. Tune in every Saturday for a new Caleb Turner Talk Show on the Anchor Radio Network.